too, if you want to do that. If you love, because I know that women love the camera angle where it's like straight up into their face.
Mhm.
So if you want to look down into the camera, then
I got to see every nose hair.
right? Which you don't have any nose hairs, do you? With your foot and mouth disease, did you
Oh, that sucks.
yeah. And try not to block your okay, yeah, that's good. I like that angle. Yeah, it's good. Hey, welcome everybody. We're live on the podcast broadcast.
Howdy.
All right. So the title of today's podcast is Have you ever been to a Christmas party where most of the room hate each other?
I have now.
Yeah, it was a very odd experience last night. But we're gonna get into all that because at one point kind of like we're about a third into the party and we look around and Summer, our marketing manager, is like, there's a tension in the air. And I look around and I'm like, yeah, actually, like most of this room, there's little subsets of people that hate each other. And then there was a full-blown boycott. Yeah, there's a lot of that I can't even get into on the stream. But I'll tell you, that drama off air.
Yes.
But it is such a thing. I mean, it's going to be a good holiday Christmas party. Then when it starts at 5:30, at 5:08, everybody gets an email from HR. Yes, that's exactly what happened last night.
Yeah.
I still didn't get
nuts.
this email. I keep getting left off lists.
You know what? Consider yourself lucky because, I mean, it was a buzzkill. There were people in the room that were obviously distraught and upset and stressed and just not happy about the situation. And then you have the couple people in the room that are like haters that, I have beef with several people, right? One guy starts with an M. I think he is a POS. I think he's difficult to work with. And he was bragging to management that he hasn't talked to me in 2 years. Yeah. But at the same time, he also was the one who told me that my show sucks dick and I'm going to get fired. Right. Well, here's an update. The show's been number one this entire calendar year. Right. So go figure. People like sucking dick. Right. So now this obviously makes somebody who doesn't like you and roots for you to fail seethe.
Oh, yeah.
Seethe.
Mhm.
So last night I had I was asked to run a couple games, holiday games for everybody. And I decided to do a Squid Game style game with everybody. Cause you guys have been watching the show, that I enjoy the Squid Games. And so I came up with my own variation of Squid Games. And the idea, I'll tell you the truth, was a little devilish. I wanted to have the shit hit the fan. I wanted to stir the pot a little bit. I wanted people that didn't like each other to be in a Squid Game where that was revealed. And like, I swear to you, I was trying. And there's a couple people who were hip to that. Like Jeannie being one of them. She's like, so what are you going to do? And I'm going to go Squid Games. And she gave me a look. And she's like, beef. And I'm like, yeah, that's right.
And weirdly, my boyfriend got targeted because he's got good hair.
Yeah. Well, in this situation, we played a game. If you watch the Squid Game reality show, there's a dice game where you choose to either risk yourself or to eliminate somebody else, and then you roll the dice. If you roll 6, then whatever you choose, an action is going to happen. So, but there's also 5 other numbers on the dice, so it's less likely you're going to roll a 6. Right. And then you keep going around until everyone's eliminated. Now I looked for dice. I didn't have dice. I was surprised that I did not have dice in my house. So I grabbed a set of dominoes instead and made a variation. It made the game better. So the game I came up with was called You Got Boned, right? Because dominoes is called bones. So I had as many people wanted to play. So I was like, hey, if you want to play for your spouse, for your employee, come on up here. We had about 30 people come up. And then I put dominoes face down on a table. And the same rules applied, saying, okay, you're going to turn over a domino. Before you turn over a domino, you're going to see if you're going to state if you're going to risk yourself or you're going to attempt to eliminate somebody else. All right. But if you turn over the double 6, then not only are you eliminated, but so is the person that you chose to eliminate. Right. So that was like the wild card in there. So people are going through, they're flipping over the card or the dominoes. And if they flip over anything that doesn't have a 6, they're safe. They go on to the next round, right? But if they flip over a 6 and they chose to eliminate somebody, then they got to yell at that person, you got boned. And actually, we got a video of it. Rico put together a reel.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And I'll share it with you real quick just from my stories. Let's see. go to my profile.
Okay, that's a very noble cause. Turn it over. If you draw 6, you're out. All right, you are safe. Get to the back of the line. You're safe.
No, I'm also going to choose to eliminate Rick.
Oh, team up against Rick. Are we at 6? Tell him.
You got bone.
Rick, you're out.
I'd like to eliminate Valdez's lady friend who's doing TikTok. You got bone, lady.
So that was You Got Boned. And then the second game that I did, I didn't think all the way through. And unfortunately, in real time, I realized that. But we did the Blindfold. It's basically a variation of Heads Up, 7 Up. And this was a game that was meant to be devious as well if people knew each other. Now, the problem was everyone that participated in the game, they didn't really know each other. So there was no personal bias or beef. But, everyone has a blindfold. And then I'm walking around in a circle, I'll tap somebody on the shoulder. If I tap you on the shoulder, you take the blindfold off, and then you take the gift certificate that you're playing for, and you place it down in front of somebody else, and then you put your blindfold back on. Then everyone at the same time takes their blindfolds off, and whoever has the gift certificate laying in front of them has to then guess who put the gift certificate in front of them. They could ask them questions, kind of look at them, check their poker face, and there was some good deception there. Like Mari, who was our receptionist, she made herself look extra guilty just so she would get chosen, and it wasn't her, right?
Yeah, and then when I did it, I slid it across the table.
Yeah.
So that way, just in case somebody was looking down underneath, they can't see a hand or direction.
A lot of different technique, and that was fun. But the problem was in the reality show Squid Games, they just whittled it down to 3 contestants and then they moved on. I didn't even consider that because while I'm eliminating people, I get down to the last 2. And then I realized, well, no matter who I tap, they're going to know the other person did this.
Yes.
So I said, okay, you both won. Fuck
Yeah.
it.
Oh.
Yeah. It was me and Mari. Yeah, it was fun.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Let's see.
Those are the only 2 games?
Those are the only 2 games. Well, because I gave up all the different prizes.
yes,
so
yes.
then I was done. Sorry, I got a text about my meeting today. I have a meeting. The GM wanted to do a meeting with me today with Mac. And so that's a big day too.
Wow.
Yeah, and this was, of course, obviously a day after ratings came out, we're number 1 again, and a day after me basically showcasing my skills as a public speaker, as a creative person, as a comedian. I was making people laugh. But here's the deal with this, right? So I'm doing this game. I kind of got the attention, but I'm involving everybody. I make sure everyone has a good time. That's literally what I do. And I've been doing it for over 20 years. So that's why if it seems natural, it's because I put my 10,000 hours in, right? I'm good. But there's people that fucking despise me and that are in that room. So what do they do while I'm doing this game? Because it makes them sick to their stomach. They can't see me connecting and making their colleagues laugh and have a good time. It destroys them. So they left during the game.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. I'm talking about F and I'm talking about M. Literally left. So when the first game was over, I look and I'm like, oh, the 2 people that hate me most, they just happened to leave during this game, which they could have won prizes for, which everyone in the room was laughing and having a good time. It's like, how petty do you got to be to hold on to something? And it's really because like my beef with Frank is because this guy, doesn't know how to treat people when he gets upset, doesn't know how to communicate, and then he gets abusive, right? In a lot of ways, I've forgiven him, and there are a lot of things that I actually learned from him, right? And so I'm not against this guy. I want everyone to do well, right? Because that's setting the bar, and I want to exceed their bar. Yeah. This other kid, he lucked into a position of a job. My only frustration with him is that every time I tried to work with him, he would give attitude. He would finish the project delayed or late. If I say, hey, I need it by Friday, I would get it by next Thursday, the following Thursday, right? And I would get attitude. And when I would get it, it'd be half-assed and not done right. And so the whole process was so stressful to even try to attempt to work with him at all that I just said, you know what? While I got my new show and everything, I'm just not going to fuck with you. I'm not going to ask you for anything. He took offense to that, right? And that was the beginning of the beef. And then since then, what has happened? I've not used him. I've done more than him. I'm better at video editing, graphic design, and got a whole team together. And okay, I'm going to stop talking about that. Rock on 2.1 KFMA. Welcome back to Beef Vegan Presents. We got Mari and Weirdo in studio. Good morning, ladies.
Good
morning.
You guys feeling good? Now that I vented a little bit. And I'm mostly done with my venting. Mostly.
I have a headache.
Now, sorry, I know Weirdo's hungover. And then Mari's
my
recovering
God.
from foot and mouth disease. What was that like?
Just rough.
Yeah?
So rough.
So why are you sticking your son's feet in your mouth?
No, it's called hand, foot, mouth disease. You get like a bunch of little sores, and Nico and Kenzo got it. Code and I didn't really get it, but we've just had like cold after cold after cold and fevers, and it's just been brutal.
That's
Children are just petri dishes of
Petri dishes.
awful.
Yes, and we've all
Terrible.
been there because when
Mhm.
kids are in that age where it's like 3 to 7 or 3 to
Mhm.
10, if you will, the closer they are to the ground in stature, the more germs they pick up and pass
So
on
many.
to you.
Mhm.
Yeah, it is disgusting.
Well, they
And-
also just don't have that personal bubble. Like, just they're all up in everybody's faces.
Picking
And
their noses, touching their mouth.
yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, well, the thing is, it's not just kids. There's some adults that never grew out of that face.
That is true.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And so I do feel your pain. And Mari's been feeling really bad because she hasn't been able to make it on the show. But
Oh,
I'm like, hey,
no.
I understand. And if you're like coming in with like all the diseases, you can stay home
Yeah,
until,
right.
until you scrub
You sure?
those off.
You don't want it?
No.
Some time off?
Hand, foot, mouth disease. I'm like, pick a body part. You know what I mean?
So gross.
I know, it's so gnarly.
So we got Mari in studio. Herb Stratford is going to join us. We got your would you rathers coming up after the latest from Green Day. The song's called "The American Dream Is Killing Me" on Rock 102.1 KFMA. All right, so that was our little teaser, right? And
Teaser.
The unofficial punk Christmas song of the year.
This is it?
The American Dream is killing me.
American Dream
Yeah,
is
like,
killing me.
you think so? You think that's
Yeah.
the unofficial?
I think it sounds like a freaking Christmas song.
You think so?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Yeah, it
That's
sounds
it.
like the party was fun. Overall, I feel like it is fun.
Mm-hmm.
It was fun,
It was.
and you know, to a certain extent. But yeah, I mean, it is a little disappointing, no, because and that was my own personal drama. There was other personal drama that people had with each other that had nothing to do with me, which is I felt great about. But it was a weird holiday party. Our
Yeah.
GM opened up saying, "Hey, 2023 was a rough year," and I'm just like, "Ugh, like how bad are things going?" Right? Like I understand, and I look at my frustration. I make transparent. I don't hold it back, obviously, right? I mean, I literally customized this podcast just to vent, but
We just ordered our custom Christmas ornament for this year.
yeah,
This is 2023. I'm fine, you're fine, everything's fine, and it's just a jumbled, tangled mess of Christmas. Like,
Right.
That's
because
funny.
like it's still bright and pretty, and like we've had really good moments, but like 2023, like I'm ready for it to be done.
it's been a tough year for some. But you know, I mean, with the highs, there's been. I mean, with the lows, there's been highs. But this is how I'm so transparent with my frustration within the company. So I get up on in front of everybody at the Christmas party. I'm
Oh.
getting ready to set up
Oh.
the game. Yeah. And I go, okay, all right. So for everybody who might not know me, like, you know, the spouses of my colleagues and the entire sales staff, my name is Beef.
And Mac totally backed you up on it too.
Yeah, dude. And I'm just like, I called them out. The ones that showed up, there were some people that didn't even show up.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh man,
Mm.
Oh,
I know.
juicy.
I know it is juicy. It is. I saw DC last night, so that was good.
Oh,
And here's another
wow.
good thing. And then we'll get into would you rathers. But so DC initially there was a bunch of people that were furloughed during COVID, right? And then at some point, remember when I got the job, there was a subset of people that I used to work with that started hating on me like I took their job, which wasn't the case at all. And DC was kind of lumped in that friend group. But last night he said to me, kind of pulled me aside, and he's like, "Dude, I'm really proud of you." Like,
Oh,
yeah, he's like,
he's such a nice
he's
guy.
like, you worked your ass off, and everything you're accomplishing, you know, is because of that. And I'm like,
Oh.
you're absolutely right, DC.
I love
And
him.
yeah, it was very nice. It was
Oh, he
good
was a
seeing
sweetie.
him.
Mhm.
And
And
that's what
Beth?
it is. You know, Beth is a
Was she there though or no?
no,
she lived.
She's in
moved. She's
South
gone.
Carolina. But yeah, no, Beth blamed me for her fire. I'm like, I had nothing to do with nothing. Anyways, let's get on this. Rock on 2.1 KFMA. Welcome back to Beef Vegan Presents. As we're hanging out here with Mari and Weirdo. And of course, it's been so long, Mari. Have you compiled so many would you rathers that we could literally be in this this complex scenario of like not knowing what to do and just be like a permanent confusion?
Yeah.
Are they okay? Yeah. So before Herb gets in here, we're gonna play it safe, and you could give the
Oh, you wanna
dirty
play it
ones.
safe? You
Well,
want me
no,
to
no,
play
no,
safe?
no. Do the safe ones for Herb because he's a big like baby about that stuff, and give Weirdo and I, who have no filter,
No.
no shame.
None.
The
Yeah.
rough ones?
Yeah, give me a rough one. The one that you can say on the radio though. You do scare me.
Okay. Well, this is like I'm reading this ambulance driver book. So I have like a dead body one, but I could go to like a Christmas one instead.
Let's do a Christmas one.
Okay, let's do Christmas.
A dead body one. Jesus. And you're okay. You're reading an ambulance book, so
Oh, they're so good.
so it's stories from
Right, yeah,
paramedics.
Yeah.
Every
My
time.
second one. So good.
Every time I talk to a paramedic and they tell me one horror story, it's enough
Oh,
for
it's
me
so
to be like,
good.
I would never want to be a paramedic.
Never.
And you just read that for like, that's like
Oh,
your
fun.
porn, huh?
Yeah.
Your fantasy.
So fun.
Is your paramedics in this, in all these stories, do they look like Fabio?
This one guy.
Okay.
Mm.
I was joking. I did not know that. Oh, all right. Well, yes. Give us
Okay,
a Christmas, would you rather?
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Would you rather fight Santa or a dozen of his angry elves for a present of your choosing?
Ooh, weirdo.
I'm gonna say Santa
And why?
because he looks super out of shape.
Yeah. See, that's
Just punch him like right in the chest, sternum, take his breath away on the ground, give him my present.
yeah. And honestly, that's a good theory because you would look at Santa and assume that he has terrible cardio. So if you could outlast like 15 seconds, the
Mhm.
guy's going to drop.
Right.
But here's the thing. He's also the hardest working man on the planet one day out of the year. So he might have that like a crazy old man strength.
Or does he do like Undertaker in the last couple years of his career where he like works out for 6 months to get to WrestleMania?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but little evil elves, like, no.
No, I mean, that was your
Little
choice.
ink
And,
biters.
that was your choice, but I'm just telling you why you're wrong.
Okay.
Because again, the guy he's lifting a lot of heavy items. He could also
With magic.
no, that's straight up core strength, obviously. And then he's able to go through like get skinny and go through like fireplaces and stuff. That's a little bit magic. But don't you
Mm.
think if you're like swinging at him, he wouldn't be able to like, shrink down so he could like sneak into a chimney and then get big again and pop you in the face? You're done, though. Nobody's taking down old St. Nick. So you're down in the first round. I would pick the elves. Now, even though they would put up a good fight and wreck my face, a lot of them I would end up taking out one by one eventually, just because the size advantage, and I just throw them into the wall to the Keebler splat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So that's my choice. I'm sticking to it. Give me another. Would you rather?
Okay, would you rather walk over a pile of broken ornaments or stab your foot with a candy cane?
Okay, this is very Die Hard-esque. Yeah. Yeah.
I
So
was thinking Home Alone.
that too.
Yeah.
Well, Die Hard is like you were able to do it and then still save the day. Home Alone was like a deterrent and like
Yeah.
you won, 10-year-old bastard.
Yeah.
So what are you gonna do?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with candy cane because like with the ornaments, like then all those little bits and everything just like stuck in your foot.
Yeah.
Where like candy cane's like, all right, it's just one stab and you're done.
One and done.
Yeah. And I think you're right.
And even if it like breaks off in your foot, like just soak it in water, like it will dissolve.
Right.
So
And your blood will smell delicious, super sweet. And hell, if anything, it could congeal. And now you got yeah.
no, I'm just
Yum.
mainlining sugar. It's fine.
You would get high off that for sure. Yeah, that's basically. So yeah, I think candy cane is the way to go on that one
Okay.
for sure.
Yeah.
All right.
Mhm.
You have one more?
I do.
You're so festive.
So festive. Would you rather have the power of Rudolph with the glowing red nose or the power of Santa Claus and be able to go down chimneys?
You're thinking dirty, aren't you, weirdo?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and so am I.
Yep.
And I'm thinking
I'm a voyeur.
you're a voyeur, so you would like the red nose?
No.
Okay.
You'll go down the chimney to like sneak into people's houses.
Oh yeah. I didn't think you needed any help going down, but I figured if you had the power of the glowing red nose, then you could go down and then have like a flashlight, an exotic red light flashlight.
Illuminated.
Yeah, you see what you're doing in any scenario. Little midnight loving doesn't matter. Power's out, don't care. Little infrared action, you can see everything.
I'm talking about breaking and entering and like watching people without their knowledge.
That's criminal.
Yep, I actually went criminal.
You're living up to your name. Where'd you get that beanie, by the way?
My mother-in-law got it for me like 7 or 8 years ago. Yeah, it's perfect.
Yes. It's good for a hangover. Well, those are the safe ones that we're able to do on the air. Let's do some unsafe ones on youtube.com/beefvegan. We have more that we're going to get to, including Weirdo's plans for her Christmas gift that she got from the company.
Hell yeah.
Which they unbeknownst gave her basically a pass for an orgy.
Oh, yeah.
We'll talk more about that. And of course, Herb Stratford will be joining us next. It's Rock 102.1 KFMA. Clear. Yeah. So no, Weirdo got the see, I always have bad luck at these gifts. When you went to the holiday parties, did you get good gifts?
I got my microwave that I still use today.
Oh, yeah. And that was funny because that's like a industrial microwave.
It is solid.
It is solid.
It.
Yeah, no, it's made for an IKEA, like not sold by IKEA. No. It's made for the employees at IKEA. It is an industry huge 500-pound microwave. I remember it.
It's so solid.
Yeah. So I've always had terrible luck at getting the prizes and the white elephant.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a $25 gift card was my my Christmas
Who was your
gift.
white elephant?
No, there's no white elephant.
Oh, there was
no. Yeah, every employee got one. It was like a table full of stuff, but you couldn't look in, and you just once you touched it, it was yours.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
I got Larry one year, and he got me a really cute little like memory box. It was sweet.
Oh,
yeah.
See, no, we didn't do any of that. They figure it again. They're just like white elephant. Everyone hates each other. No, so it's basically going to be like, here's an envelope. But what's in it? Is it a gift card to Target? I love Target. No, it's anthrax. Shit.
I know my girlfriend kept asking me. She's like, "Are we supposed to bring anything?" I was like, "No, I wasn't told to bring nothing." And then she saw the table of presents. She's like, "Are you sure you weren't supposed to bring like a white elephant thing?" And I was just like, "I don't even know what that game is." So yeah, because like I rarely get invited to like things. So but yeah, and also like I normally don't have that good of luck, but worked out real well last night.
Yeah. Okay. So with what she got, it was perfect for her and Manny. I don't know why this is news to you. Yeah, I was down for a felony action, but so she got a night stay at the Star Pass with $100 gift certificate. I mean, she got all the good stuff. I mean, grand prize shit. And it's up to 4 people. So like literally all her partners, a night out, a day night. It is ideal. And I couldn't be happier in that situation. Yeah. And I would even, get you something and to celebrate it for you guys to have a great night. But I only got a $25 gift card. So I don't even think I got
right.
That's definitely going to my sister, So just a Christmas shop for her.
All right.
Check.
Done.
That's perfect.
Yeah, no, like, and at first I came back to the table and I just made a joke to my partners being like, all right, who's going to compete for my love for this night? And then my girlfriend's like, no, all of us, idiot. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah. I was like, yeah, it'd be a nice night to like hang out. And like my boyfriend, when he came out to do some interview for his job, he was put up at Star Pass. He's like, yeah, it's a really cool place. And like, so we're all looking forward to it.
It's nice. It's very
nice. And then my girl's just like, could this be the night that it'll happen? The first night of, little group action?
And that's a hard no, actually. Yeah.
I'm like, that is something it is a fantasy of mine, everything else. But like, I don't know, the dynamic of a relationship, like, I feel like it'll cause too much drama. Like it's pointless drama.
Yes.
Like hurt feelings or whatever, even though like the intention is not there. Right. But like people who've participated in, multiple people sex, like just emotions get going and shit just happens.
Yeah.
So like,
Mari
and
knows
I
what you mean.
Yeah. So much group sex.
Well, like I've had 3 ways that have gone not so great.
No, I can imagine. I think I would get a little testy.
Yeah. No, you get a lot of testes if it's more dudes. Okay. So how are you going to pick your partner?
I just got that.
No, we're all going to go.
No, I know. But, obviously you guys are going to kind of decide who's going to bang who. So how are you going to do that? Because it's not going to be a group thing. The guys have pretty much made that known. At least to me, as they're broing down to ensure me that they're not gay at all.
Yeah.
No group stuff. I'm not looking at any b-holes. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, like for real, like, I mean, we already like schedule our week out, like, making sure that like each partner and each person like get that time.
Yeah.
That is something that like we don't mess around with to keep balance, right? Because it can very easily get out of balance. Yeah. So, I mean, I could definitely see us being like, okay, so-and-so has the room for an hour and then so-and-so has a room for an hour. Like I could see us doing that, like it not being a big deal.
There's a nice pool. The other
Mhm.
set can be at the pool.
Or we are also adults that don't have to have sex every 17 seconds.
You do when you're at a hotel. I mean, you can't
Yeah,
reload as
yeah.
fast, but hotel sex for sure.
Right. No, and of course that is the appeal, but like there is also the appeal of like, no, like we'll go to dinner, we'll go to the
yeah.
pool,
Do a
like
spa.
we'll kind of like we
Spa.
will use it as like a decompression, relaxation, and then like we'll pick a movie and have, because we call it squad nights.
Yeah.
And nobody has sex those nights. Like that is just like we are hanging out together, bonding, like that kind of thing. So
Right.
not bondage, bonding.
Yeah, I know. Speaking of bondage, we'll go over the top fetishes of the year. But real
Yes.
quick, give me a song, Mari. You want to hear? I'm going to put in a song on the playlist, and I actually could play whatever. So, is there a song that you want to hear?
Well, I've been listening to Viking by Slaughter to Prevail a lot, but that's kind of
I don't think I
intense.
have that in there.
Mhm.
Get in
It's
there,
a little
Herb.
too intense.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Let's go.
Yeah, she texted me the other day. She's like, "Did you go see
I
Slaughter
need,
Prevail?"
I need the
I was
song
like,
first before you. Yeah. So what is it?
obsessed.
Old
let's go
school
AFI.
AFI. Gotcha. Miss Murder.
Mm,
Well, that's all I got. So
all you got?
yeah,
God.
I know, dude. I know. Hey, we're working on it.
I know.
Yeah. Let's please welcome back our very good friend to the podcast broadcast, the one, the only Mr. Herb Stratford. Good morning, Herb.
Hello.
Good morning.
How's your morning going so far?
So far, so good. Look, I come in bringing gifts.
Oh, wow.
Look at
Oh.
this, guys.
Sorry.
Oh, my dad's gonna love you.
Indiana Jones, nice.
Ooh.
The Dial of Destiny. Look
Yeah.
at that.
So I want to give you something to keep away from the family. You can plug it in, turn it on,
Yeah.
right?
Nice. Thank you.
Let's
This-
just everyone go to sleep now and watch
Yeah, I
this
didn't
movie.
see it.
Yeah. Did
So-
you enjoy this movie? I mean, it's the latest. Do I recall the glowing review from Herb Stratford or no?
It was sort of a middling review.
Yeah.
It felt like it was there was no way to actually wow anybody because the bar is so effing high.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So I felt like, sure, it was entertaining, but he's definitely getting a little long in the tooth. And I love Phoebe Waller-Bridger. I think she's fabulous. So it's fine. It's fine. I'm glad that we're done now because we don't need an 80-plus-year-old
done.
Indiana Jones. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And he's also claimed that everyone agrees. We'll see. Spielberg, Kathy Kennedy, everybody agrees that no one else will play Indiana Jones. So if they do something, it's going to have to be a
Mm.
different character. He is dying just like Han Solo, right? You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
when you do
Mhm.
that,
Yeah.
you're done.
be
Although
done.
Aiden Onbach played a young Han Solo.
Is
But
that guy? Or no, who's this guy?
That
That guy's in the Netflix show.
who is that?
Either way, it looks like my sister's going to get this too. Thank
Yeah.
you. I appreciate that.
What?
Going to my dad.
Yeah.
Well, my
I just-
dad loves
I
Indiana
just
Jones.
saved you some Christmas shopping,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, you
Appreciate
absolutely
it.
did.
So I did. All right.
Absolutely
Or
did.
no,
awesome.
you
Thank
saved
you.
him. I wasn't gonna get him anything.
Oh.
I don't think my parents are getting me anything this year. So.
All right. Well, sorry.
So-
sorry, weirdo. Sorry.
So here's what we're gonna
Awkward.
do. I know. Here's what we're gonna do when we get on the air here, which is about 5 minutes. We're gonna do Herb Stratford's top 3 films of 2023, and then I will clip that up and make a little YouTube video out of it, and hopefully, be able to reach a few extra eyes of people who like cinephiles like Herb Stratford. Herb recently just did an interview with some big names, huh?
I did. Yeah. No, it was.
Wait a second. Are you calling yourself Mr. Movie in here?
No, I did the other day. You never.
did.
I did that last week, but you never dropped me in. So you were leaving me on the other camera, so it never came up.
Oh, did I? Oh, while you were in studio.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, so I was there's this great show on Apple TV called Slow Horses, which is sort of Bad News Bears of British intelligence is how I describe it. So it's this group of spies who have screwed up, right? And they're sort of put off into this sort of diversion program, right? And Gary Oldman is sort of the head of this group, and he's a very foul character. He looks like he sleeps on his couch. He has unkempt hair. He's farting all the time. I mean, it's just a very interesting character for him to play, right? This is Dracula, for crying out loud.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And anyway, so season 3 of this series is now streaming on Apple TV Plus, and I managed to get an invite to the junket, so I got to interview Gary Oldman, which
Ooh.
was a big deal because he's Gary Oldman.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean,
I just watched the Dark Knight series.
yeah. I mean,
again, and I was
this
just
is
like,
Commissioner
oh,
Gordon. I mean,
In
God.
fact, actually, we have a couple minutes. We got to show love to Herb. Somehow, Are you monetized on your channel?
No.
Well, the commercial came up nonetheless. So,
Really?
yeah, dude.
No, I mean,
Somebody's making money off you.
I don't even have 100. I don't even have 100 subscribers yet. So
I'll tell you
I'm
why, though.
building it.
I mean, look, see, yeah, just the way your description is. We'll talk about that afterwards.
Yeah.
So let's check out a little bit of Herb talking to the legendary Gary Oldman, along with Jack Lowden.
So much, Gary. I wanted to start with you. This show is so it's so unlike what we've seen in spy shows before. It's not Mission Impossible. It's not, Jason Bourne. Is that one of the reasons that you were attracted to this show, because it sort of showed maybe the real world of how spycraft works?
Yeah. I mean, I was saying earlier that it's very, we can relate to the people. It's not casinos and fast cars and exactly. It is a genre that we're familiar with, but Mick Herron, who wrote the books, shows based on these books, has sort of taken that world and turned it upside down. And there's also, I think, there's a great deal of humor that these shows or these spy adventures, take themselves a bit too seriously. And I think that there's a lovely sort of not that we're winking at the audience. We're conscious not to do that, but I think we are at times a little tongue in cheek. You know what I mean? It's that. I think it's that fine balance where
Jack looks bored as hell, dude.
No, no, that's because I haven't asked Jack his question yet. And if you go and you watch the whole thing,
I'm sure he lights up, but I mean, it's like, dude, you don't sit there and look like you're miserable.
Well, and Jack, it's interesting. Jack was in London. Gary was in LA, and look, they must be in the same hotel chain because they have the exact same furnishings behind them.
Yeah. Or are they sitting in front of a green screen?
No. They were both called in from different continents.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Different time of day, and this is what the elite. This is the type of dressers that the elite.
What you always try and do, and you know this, Beef, because you've been interviewing people for a while. But what you always try and do is you try and give these guys a question that they haven't heard, because think about this. They're sitting in their hotel room probably for like 5 hours straight, right? Answering the same stupid question from the same critics from around the world, right?
Oh, yeah.
When I was in the waiting room, there was all these international critics popping in from like Germany and Italy and all these other places. And so I always try and brainstorm. And so my question to Jack, it sort of threw him for a loop, and he's like, "Oh, I've never thought about it that way. I'm going to think about it that way from now on." And I was like, "Oh, cool. Well,
there you go.
So yeah,
my name's Herb Stratford. I just changed your life.
Yeah.
It's Arts and Culture Guy, Jeff. Arts and Culture Guy is how you can find Herb's YouTube channel. Please subscribe. You'll be the 85th subscriber.
Thank you.
But I will help out Herb and learning how to be able to post and do the hashtags and things like that. There's a couple tricks I picked along the way. In fact, actually, next year or next week we'll do our year end celebration. Yeah. But I did share these stats, and I want to share it again because I'm very proud of these, because this year has been really the year of trying to build our YouTube channel. So on YouTube, we did 330 uploads, right? 6,500 likes, 617 comments, 306,000 views.
Nice.
306,000 views just in the calendar year.
That's awesome.
I know. And growing. Next year we're going for 1 million. Let's do this. Rock 102.1 KFMA. Welcome back to Beef Vegan Presents. We are joined by international film critic Herb Stratford. I say international because he has done Zoom interviews with celebrities from various continents around the world.
It's true.
I know. That's true. They can't take that away from you. Herb.
No, you're right. No, it's all in the telling. Yep.
Exactly.
Oh, and look at that. I see you posted my gift to you last week on your wall.
Yes, I did. You can't see it on the stream because I'm trying to monetize the channel, but with your dirty foul thinking. But yes, your influence is on this in this broom closet.
I love it.
Yes,
I love it.
Absolutely. Well, you're a good friend of the show. I mean that. I do appreciate you coming in after all these years, and I do value your opinion when it comes to movies and television. We agree a lot. So I'm very excited to talk about what you believe is the top 3 movies of 2023. Yeah. Now, are you going to go all hoity-toity on me, or is there going to be some popcorn flicks here?
No, I don't think it's hoity-toity. I mean, you could have asked me for a hoity-toity list. That would have been a different list.
No.
No.
Yeah, save that for your, like, I don't know, your happy hour wine and cheese crowd. Yeah.
All right, what do you want to talk about first?
All right, we'll talk about, let's start off with your, do you rank these, or you just, or one of those critics that are just like, here are my 3 best. I can't tell you what is better than the other.
No, I don't remember what order I gave you in them, but I probably gave you in the right order.
Well, without giving a full reveal, let's start off with Bradley Cooper's, big movie. Oh, tell me what, is that number 3 or number 1?
No, it's number 3.
Okay, so we're starting off at number 3.
Yeah.
Maestro is a movie that you thoroughly enjoyed here in 2023.
I did, and I think the other thing about this is about Leonard Bernstein, who is the composer and conductor and big sort of a classic music giant. So I played the cello, so I live in the classical music world anyway. But so I knew a little bit about him. But I think what Bradley Cooper did, and he co-wrote this film, he co-produced it, he directed it, he stars in it. It's just an amazing testament to telling somebody's story and to being all in, not just being, okay, pay me and I'll show up and read my lines. I mean, this guy took a film, and I think he demonstrated to us when he did A Star Is Born, this guy's not just an actor, right? He actually can do some good stuff. And I think he has mad skills. And this film is brilliant. And I was, happy to be able to see it in New York, its premiere. And it's really cool to see this on a big screen. Netflix, it drops next week. It drops on the 20th on Netflix.
Okay, nice.
Had a very limited release in theaters just to qualify for Oscars and things like that. But this is actually another thing that there's interviews that I did on my channel with some of the craft team, the producers and the writer, and some of these other people are on my YouTube channel, interviews with them in person, actually. But anyway, this film is it's brilliant. It's got incredible performances, Carey Mulligan and Bradley. It's worth a look.
Nice. Yeah, well, there was controversy during this. Now, I was excited to see this film when it came out because I remember seeing pictures of like Bradley Cooper on set and then doing side-by-sides with the person in
Leonard. Lenny.
Leonard, what's his full name?
Leonard Bernstein.
Yeah, Leonard Bernstein. And it was like almost identical. But at the same time, when they started releasing trailers, then you had the media, for some reason, accusing Bradley Cooper of Jew face.
I know,
right? And
it's the nose, yeah. And it's funny because it's such a small part of the whole thing. When you see him, he takes Lenny from age 25 to 75.
Yeah.
And so you see him at the end, and he's got full body makeup. I mean, it's incredible the transformation. And so I think it was just the media looking for something to just talk about.
Oh yeah.
But it's funny, we had a reception and met 3 of his 3 children, and his one daughter Jamie said to me, she said, he was so incredible in the makeup. I got a Zoom call one day, and I didn't recognize the number, so I just hit accept on my laptop, and the window popped open, and it was Bradley in that late period makeup. And she said she almost fell out of her chair because she thought her dad was back from the dead.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
It is so transformative. You can fool the kids.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody complaining about a nose. You know what? Bradley Cooper, I don't know how you ladies feel, but Bradley Cooper's a handsome guy, right? So if you just had Bradley Cooper, you're like Bradley Cooper,
yes,
right? So you needed to take him out of that, and if the nose was it, because really Lenny had a big nose.
Yeah.
So anti-Semitism, whatever, just knock it off.
Yeah.
So,
well,
anyway,
if he doesn't get an Oscar for Best Director, Best Actor, it seems like this movie might be a shoe-in for Best makeup.
Yeah. I think it's a front runner for costumes and makeup for sure.
Okay. Yep. Yeah. So that's Herb's number 3 pick. All right. Number 2 was a feel-good film that made Herb Stratford leave the theater jumping for joy. Of course, I'm talking about Oppenheimer. Why did you love Oppenheimer so much?
Here's the thing. This is another sort of remarkable story about a guy. We've heard this name. I'm assuming everybody's heard this name as the father of the atomic bomb. And I love anything Christopher Nolan does.
Yeah.
And so to take on this story of this incredibly complicated man and the world that to make it comprehensible, right? I mean, and it is a little bit thick. I will say it gets into some of the physics and you're like, okay, I got to pay attention here. But I mean, it's absolutely brilliant. The fact that they refused to do digital explosions to mimic the atomic bomb blast, they had to come up with a new way to actually explode things that made a mushroom cloud. Really? I mean, the dedication to craft. I have a good friend who's the sound designer for all of Christopher Nolan's films. And this guy, he is Christopher Nolan is just such a genius at telling stories, and remarkable cast. Cillian Murphy is fantastic. I just think to see a historic figure like this and to bring it to a contemporary audience and make it relevant is a monumental task. I mean, they built that whole Los Alamos town as a set. I mean, it's just remarkable what they do. Everybody in this film is great. Because Matt Damon's in it and not Ben Affleck. So
yeah,
you know what I mean? So that's a win right there.
Einstein sat in it. I mean, I still have not seen it.
Oh,
I have not either. I want to.
I will when I want to get like depressed on where we're at in the world. But I mean, obviously it was one of those moments in history that changed everything afterwards, right? So and it's obviously perfectly documented by Christopher Nolan, who's one of the best of the best. Maybe of all time, right?
Yeah. I mean, he is definitely in the pantheon of the best directors. I mean, nobody does films like he does.
Yeah, not an easy subject to tackle for sure. Well, considering Oppenheimer's number 2, then obviously your number 1 is Barbie.
No.
Okay.
Cocaine Bear. It's Cocaine Bear. I knew it.
No, I think that was late last year.
Yeah, it was early this year.
Okay, so, but, with 2023, there were so many movies that came out. A lot of them got to critical rave reviews. But there was one movie that stood head and shoulders above the rest for you, your favorite movie of this year.
It's Poor Things.
Okay. What is Poor Things?
So Poor Things is the Emma Stone movie from Yorgos Lanthimos. It is sort of a retelling of the Frankenstein story, but Emma Stone is the monster. Okay. And Yorgos Lanthimos is the director who did The Lobster. He did The Favorite. He's a Greek director, a very eclectic director. When you watch the trailer, you'll see it's one of these movies where when it's over, you just go, wow, that was incredible, from the production design to the acting, to the costumes. I mean, Willem Dafoe, look at that makeup work on Willem Dafoe. It's just it's remarkable. She is such an incredibly brave actress, and the roles that she does, she is fearless. I love that she's from Phoenix too, or Scottsdale. But we talked about this last week because it just dropped last week. There's a lot of sex. There's a lot of nudity in this film. This is a very brave movie for her. Mark Ruffalo is amazing in it. This is the perfect movie. It's one of the reasons I love going to movies, because it just had an impact on me. And I'm like, I've never seen anything like that before.
Nice. Well, that's what movies are made for, right? But it is surprising me that there is a lot of sex and nudity in this, because this seems like, on the surface of the trailer, kind of just a cliche of like a baby monster, Frankenstein, like learning the world. And like, oh, what's this? A spoon? What's a spoon? And then you're goofy with the spoon. And then she's doing that in the trailer. And then the next thing you know, she probably comes across a D, and then you're like, messes around with that. So you got my attention.
What's this? Don't slap it.
Right. So, I mean, it seems like it starts off in black and white. So it's a mixture of black and white and full color.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, and it's interesting because there is black and white and color in all 3 of my films, because Bradley Cooper in Maestro, the first half is in black and white. And then in Oppenheimer, there's a lot of black and white. Only some of the newer stuff is in color. So but maybe that's a theme.
Yeah.
Didn't realize that till you said it.
Yeah, I mean, you're just artistic. If you want to try to win all the awards, make sure you turn off that color option for a little bit. And film critics like Herb are nostalgic of their youth, watching TV before there was color on it. But those are excellent choices, and got me intrigued to see all 3 of them. So Herb Stratford's top 3 movies of 2023 are Maestro, Oppenheimer, and the recently released Poor Things. Excellent list. We're going to keep the conversation moving on the podcast broadcast. We got more, including more Would You Rathers to make Herb squirm. So you can join us. YouTube.com/beefy. Going to keep it right here in Rock 102.1. Clear. That's good. Now I got to watch Poor Things.
You know what I would say also, too, is that The Iron Claw comes in at number 4 or 5. It's that good.
Oh, you've seen it?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so excited for it.
It's
punch
so
him in the face, weirdo. That's a humble brag for sure.
I also like the humble brag of like, yeah, I played the cello. Like, okay, nerd.
Well, I can't. Yeah, I know.
And thank you.
I can't disown it. I mean, it's a fact. Yeah, no. The Iron Claw is absolutely. It's devastating. Zac Efron is remarkable. I really hope he gets nominated. He is ripped. I mean,
his physical transformation for that role was insane.
No, he was already.
No, I understand that he's always in shape, but the way that he bulked up.
Yeah.
Have you seen Baywatch? I mean, the guy.
Yeah, but this is next level.
He was lean in Baywatch.
Huh.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
He's amazing in it. And I mean, he carries that story because there's such pain in that movie.
Well, it's Kevin Von Erich's story.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, I think the casting was a little off. I understand why Zac Efron played the lead because Zac Efron is, of course, the lead actor and the most, the famous, the biggest one in this cast, which is an all-star cast. But Kevin Von Erich was more like a skinnier person. It was actually Carrie Von Erich who was more buff. So I felt like in casting that Zac Efron would have played Carrie Von Erich better, but it wasn't the lead role.
So you're saying that Jeremy Allen White, you're saying that was not maybe he couldn't carry the role because Zac has just had so much more experience.
I think they should have reversed their roles. I think Jeremy should have been Kevin Von Erich and Zac should have been Carrie Von Erich. Carrie Von Erich again was the Red Rooster in the WWF for a minute. He was always one of the most kind of Greek godlike, swole, big characters. I thought the casting for the older brother David was perfect. That was good. So don't change that. But that's my only from a physical casting perspective, right?
Yeah.
I think, if you put Jeremy Allen White next to Kevin Von Erich, I think you'll see more similarities there physically than you would, Zac Efron. In fact, I could probably pull that up right now, actually.
Well, I think, while you do that, I think it's just, it's interesting that wrestling is sort of having this moment, I mean, it just seems like it's like somebody finally has turned the attention to wrestling and said, there's really good stories here.
Yeah.
Well, especially a lot of the backstage stories.
Yeah.
Right. Like that to me is so much more of the compelling. I mean, obviously I leave Attitude Era out of that because that was just a fantastic time. But especially when you get into like Jake the Snake Roberts and Taker's stories, like those are my most favorite things to watch.
Here. Okay, can you see this picture here? Let's see if I can zoom it in. All right, so this is Kevin Von Erich. This is Carrie Von Erich.
Okay.
You see the difference there?
Yeah.
Here's another one.
Yeah.
And you kind of see it in her face. So there's Carrie and there's Kevin. So if they reverse the roles there,
yeah, I see it.
Then the casting would be more spot on, just from a physical standpoint, right? And even just the look. I mean, Jeremy Allen White kind of looks like Kevin Von Erich was kind of like pastier, not as tan, right? Not as like Adonis-like as Carrie Von Erich. Carrie Von Erich got all of the ladies, all of them, legitimately, and that probably led to his demise. He had so much excess, which I'm sure documented in the Iron Claw. I'm very familiar with this story because they've done documentaries on it, and it's fascinating. The curse and the implosion of this family on every single level is like a tragic American story, like you've never heard before.
Because it was 6 brothers.
5, isn't it?
5.
I think they cut 5. One out of the film, to be honest.
Yeah. So many brothers, and only one is still alive.
Yeah, there's 4 there's 4 in the film. 1 has died, but there was actually 5. So but it's just I mean the father. I don't know who the I can't remember the name of the guy that plays the father.
Fritz Von Erich.
But I mean the actor. But I mean, it's this devastating character, this guy who basically his life was ruined because he never made it. And so he made everyone else's life miserable. I mean, it's like you just said, Beef, it's a tragic American story. I mean, this could happen nowhere else but America. I mean, it's a hell of a thing.
Plays Fritz, plays the dad.
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah.
You were on it.
Yeah.
Google. Yeah.
No, it's a really amazing film. Did we talk about when it's coming out? I'm probably not.
It's coming out on the weekend of Christmas. Okay. So they pushed it back a couple weeks because it's that good and it has wrestling mass appeal. So they know that it's their best opportunity for A24 to make some money over the long holiday weekend.
Next Friday.
Yeah, which is shitty because I've been anticipating it. I thought it was going to drop first weekend in December. And I think initially that was the projection. I kept messing with it
Well,
because
A24, I mean, just continues to
They
just
did that?
every film they do, you just have to. It's just like, what is it? Is it A24? All right, I'm there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of A24, I just saw a post saying that Benji Saffi, is that how you say his last name?
Sadfi.
Safi,
Mhm.
who is a co-star in The Curse right now
Yes.
on Showtime,
Uh-huh.
which
Yep.
is an excellent show.
Yep.
And his brother Joel, they're directors, right?
Mhm,
And they
mhm.
directed things like Uncut Gems
Yep.
and Good Times.
Yep.
Yeah, see, he's checking me out. So I'm dropping this
No,
knowledge.
it's very good.
Right. So
Mhm.
Benji is tapped to direct a film starring The Rock.
Huh.
Yep, that's your boy. Playing UFC legend Mark Kerr. And that should be very interesting.
Hmm.
And I actually looked at that, and knowing what Mark Kerr looked like and The Rock, I'm like, okay, yeah, that's good casting. And that's a film that The Rock needs right now, desperately.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
he's
that's real close.
spiraling. He needs something to remind people of that, that he's not just a cartoon character.
Right. Yeah.
Mhm.
And so this is his best opportunity. But what's interesting about this, it's the first time Benji will take a solo directing role.
Yes.
Yeah. You said, like, out of the two brothers, which one did you feel like could have been the better director? Because Benji's the one that's usually acting as well.
I was going to say that's the thing. Benji is different. I think with him, he seems to want to do more than his brother. And so that's why you're seeing him pop up in these things like The Curse, and he's been in some other movies. So it's interesting. We'll see. It's like the Coen brothers in a way, right? You know what I mean? Like that they're great creatively together. Let's see what happens separately.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it'll be it'll be interesting when that comes out. Probably like 18 months, but it is A24, so for that reason, you should be excited about it. That's the new Miramax. So that's the film company that we've been most excited about.
Yeah, and the Iron Clock does come out on the 22nd, along with Rebel Moon, which is the Zack Snyder science fiction film. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff right before Christmas, because on Christmas you've got Aquaman, please don't. Boys in the Boat, which is good. Color Purple, Ferrari's really good.
Wait a second. So yeah, those movies are all being released 3 days before Aquaman's being released. Christmas Day.
So Christmas Day is 4 movies: Aquaman, Boys in the Boat, which is a George Clooney directed film about a crew rowing team in the 36 Olympics. The Color Purple is the new musical version of The Color Purple.
That's weird.
And Ferrari with Adam Driver as the patriarch of the Ferrari family.
Well, that might be interesting, but at the same time, not blockbuster. Yeah.
And Aquaman is getting horrible.
Of course
horrible.
it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Rock 102.1 KFMA. We're just talking with Herb Stratford. You just heard Hits from the Bomb from Cypress Hill. Yeah. Now with that, and I played that song for Herb. He's a huge pothead.
Yeah. Why do you think he just sits all day and watches movies?
Why do you think his name is Herb? But yeah, we're talking movies and releases, and the reviews for the sequel to Aquaman, which should be no surprise to anybody who's been paying attention, but they're abysmal, it seems like, right?
Yeah, and I think this is one of those things where we were all contractually obligated to make the sequel. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I mean, they had the whole thing about Amber Heard, and are they going to write her out? Are they going to leave her in? It's just basically a rehash of the same movie, because you've got Manta back as the villain.
Oh.
You brought Patrick Wilson back. They got to team up and work together. It's just like,
It's a hot mess.
yeah.
DC, as we were celebrating our year in review, feeling like we're taking baby steps in the right direction. DC has made giant leaps in the opposite direction. Marvel hasn't done well either, though.
No,
No.
there's been a reckoning. Yeah, but I think DC still leads the race in hitting, standing on the rake and having it hit you in the face.
Right? Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
and with Marvel, I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, yeah.
I'm so fatigued, and I don't want to see any more superhero movies.
Well, going into 2024 and beyond, is there any hope for the superhero genre? Is there anything that we could collectively be excited and look forward to?
Mhm.
What?
Deadpool.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes, and
Thanks,
that's
Weirdo.
Deadpool 3, and that's going to be
Uh-huh.
super canon.
In
And
July.
obviously,
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds is asking people to stop spoiling
Uh-huh.
all the different pop-ups that are going to be in there, because a lot of people are taking photographs of them on set.
Right.
And
Oh,
sure,
cool.
Deadpool will be a good time, but it is the third in this franchise. So, like, historically speaking, never the best one, right?
Fair
so,
Well, except for Return of the King.
Hugh Jackman.
Lord
Lord of the Rings.
Oh,
I
I'm all Hugh Jackman and Deadpool. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
Well, Logan was great, but
Logan was great.
no, I think you're right. This is a challenge, but to Weirdo's point, yes, I'm looking forward to Deadpool because it's just always so irreverent. The second one was not as great as the first one, but it was still very good. My only hope for superheroes, honestly, at this point is if they can reboot Daredevil and do it in a good way, like the Netflix series was, because that was actually good, and it was dark. And Kingpin was amazing. So I think that world was interesting, but there is a fatigue here. DC never really found their mojo, except for, of course, the Dark Knight movies, but that's because Christopher Nolan was involved.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Well, fingers crossed. I do have a fondness and a connection to a lot of those comic book characters that I would love to see, have life in the cinematic universe. But as of right now, recently, there's nothing's been memorable.
And I'm worried about the X-Men reboot now that it's back in the fold. I'm worried about the Fantastic Four, which were two of my favorites, Fantastic Four and X-Men. And I'm just worried they've never gotten it perfect.
Nope.
I mean, I think parts of X-Men have worked.
Yep.
But never really like a home run like Avengers, Endgame or something. I mean, that was a pinnacle, and maybe that should have been the end. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah. Endgame should have been legit. They should have just ended it with everything turns to dust and people go back to normal and nobody has superpowers.
Yeah.
We're going to keep the conversation moving on the podcast broadcast where Mari's going to attempt to make Herb Stratford squirm with would you rather scenarios. Will he answer the questions? We'll find out. And then be back with your beef tip right after this. Rock on 2.1 KFMA. Clear. Let's get right into that, Mari.
The dead body one?
Yeah. You want the dead body one, Herb?
I do.
Sure.
All right, go ahead, Mari. I know she look how sweet and innocent she
looks.
She is the most twisted individual I ever met in my life.
Oh my God, the concern on Herb's face right now.
Be concerned. Be afraid. Be very afraid.
Okay, so I'm reading like paramedics, like about paramedics and like their stories and stuff. And this one guy had to go to the scene, and so this is where this would you rather originates from.
Yeah. So there you go. Backstory, which a critic enjoys that.
Yeah.
Would you rather clean up the scene of a dead body that's been sitting in a 100-degree room for like 3 weeks? It's been splattered. It's everywhere. Would you rather clean that up, or would you rather spend the night in that room with that body?
Oh, I'd spend the night in the room with that body all day.
Which makes me
while
love it's decaying and
I mean, the smell apparently is terrible.
I know, but I just like the cleanup. I'm just like, no, thank you. No, thank you.
Have you ever seen those crews come in and do the cleanup?
Well,
Yeah.
not firsthand, but yeah.
But you don't have that in this scenario.
Yeah, no.
It's
See,
just you.
It's
you in a roll of paper towels.
I seen that though in real life just a couple years ago when I was living on Ina, apartment a couple units down from me. A guy ended up like killing himself, and so then the crews had to come out and clean up all of that. And to see that process was odd and terrifying and disturbing.
Yeah, one of my husband's family members, somebody did like a well check on him, and he had been dead in his bathroom for a week. $50,000 for the cleanup, and they had to gut the bathroom.
Ooh.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, it's awful.
I'm gonna tell you what. So I have an update, and since we're on theme of dead bodies, unfortunately, I do want to give you this update. Do you remember the viral video I showed you of the attractive woman who got caught masturbating on the beach?
Yeah.
I have
an update.
A grisly update.
Oh no.
Yes, and this is terrifying. But first, let me show you the video in question here. Of the viral video is a body cam. Now, this happened a couple years ago. Well, when this woman, her name was Christina, got arrested for indecent exposure and blah, 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 blah. Now, she was doing it discreetly. She had a bullet. She's having a little fun. It was a beautiful day on the beach. We didn't blame her. And we also thought at the same time, hell, this chick is cool. And she's really good looking. Like, any guy would be lucky to have that as their lady or whatever, right? Here's the video in question.
Okay, and you were over at the beach?
Like I was near the water.
Near the water?
Yeah.
Okay.
What did I do? What did I do?
So apparently you were masturbating on the beach.
Who saw that?
I mean, a couple people.
No, they didn't. That's not true.
Why would they call us
that? Nobody was around. Was it an anonymous call? Is this one of my buddies? Okay,
no,
one of my buddies.
No, it's not. It's a family.
Okay, look, let me show you what I did.
And then she does like a play-by-play of how she masturbated. And then you should never do that, okay? Here's the headline, all right? You just see those? Neighbors of Christina Revels-Glick arrested for using a vibrator on the beach insist that she was brutally murdered by a boyfriend and her blood-spattered apartment. And police commander admits it was not a normal suicide. So she ended up passing away. And her death is mysterious because They say initially in the police report that she committed suicide by shooting herself. But the problem is there's blood all over her apartment. There was handprints on the wall, in the mirror, things like that. And her downstairs neighbors were used to hearing commotion of her and her boyfriend at the time, of them fighting, and even contemplating on the last night they know of her being alive, of calling the police because, it's apartment living. You could hear everything above, but apparently they didn't hear the gunshot. And then the next thing you know, it's about 40 days after the fact. So she passes away. She's in her apartment for 40 days. They didn't know. And it wasn't until she missed her, to pay her rent, because she was always on time with her bills. Her sister doesn't believe she would kill herself because she had all these projects that she was lined up to do.
Mhm.
She's making plans.
Right.
So now there's this murder mystery surrounding this woman who literally went viral after she was potentially brutally murdered.
Ooh.
I feel really bad too because we literally thirsted on this woman and this video,
Right.
and we kind of laughed with her. I didn't want, if she was sitting in the studio with me, I would be like, it's okay.
Right,
What you
right.
did was not wrong.
Right.
It was a scenario that it just, you shouldn't have. It sucks that you got caught, but
Right.
I think one of the saddest parts for what you just said, though, is that it was 40 days or whatever.
Yeah.
To me, that's like the
Mm.
idea that no one went looking for her for that long.
It's a long
That's
time.
what's sad.
they had to do a welfare
Right.
check. So here's the handprints on the wall, it's grisly.
No.
There's a neighbor. So that whole story is a deep dive and mind blowing because you're like, what? We were just she was like our woman of the week,
Mm.
and crazy. Yeah.
Well,
So
and I just watched that Mother
on.
Love cult documentary on HBO Max, and the
Mhm.
fact that they had her body for I think it was 3 weeks, that they were just
Oh,
holding
with
on
the
to
little-
it.
with the eyeballs. Yeah. I was
Yeah, well,
watching
she
that.
drank so much colloidal silver that she was blue and already preserved.
Oh
They
my
put
God.
gems in her eyeballs, right?
Yeah.
Took out her
we're back
eyeballs?
on the air, by the way. Rock
But yeah,
101
but that-
KFMA talking about Mother Love, the documentary on
Mhm.
HBO. After we did an update of, we always play viral videos on the podcast broadcast. We came across one of a woman who got caught self-loving on the beach and a body cam footage of that. And it was embarrassing and it was goofy and it was funny and she was attractive. So, we had a good time with it. And then we had this devastating update that she actually passed away. And now there's a whole mystery surrounding her death.
Mm.
And then Weirdo brought up the Mother Love documentary on HBO, which is another strange story of a woman who completely encapsulated the hippie lifestyle
Mhm.
and was able to start a cult.
Yeah.
And when I say start a cult, they're like, oh, she's a cult leader. I'm like, well, you only had about 8 people. That's not impressive.
Right.
That's like a small gang.
But it
You know what I mean?
It wasn't just the people that were physically at the property. She had an online following. I mean, there was
Right.
hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales and the different snake oils and here's this crystally specific. It was a whole machine. And yes, that she was Mother God.
Yes.
And then any of her boyfriends were
The
Father God. Yeah.
I know. And what a complex. You'd instantly give a guy who just boned you. You're like,
Mhm.
oh, you're God now. I'm like, yeah, that was good, huh? You like that?
Especially when the first one who she married was an elderly hippie dude. He was in his
Yes.
60s.
Meth head, missing
Mhm.
teeth, and good for him because she was attractive woman. But
Yeah.
at the same time, she abandoned her children. She was kind of a
Oh my
garbage
God,
person.
right.
Had a lot of issues.
Yeah.
And she is attractive in the face, and that was enough to start a cult. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for the show today. Yeah. I do want to
If you
end
get
it-
an email from Weirdo.
Yeah, I do
Don't
want to.
join my cult.
Yes, I do want to end the show with a beef tip, as I always do. So my beef tip today is do not join a cult. All right, join a community. Subscribe, youtube.com/beefvegan, and be a part of our community.
Mhm.
We won't make you drink any Kool-Aid,
Mm.
and we won't make you have group sex with strangers.
I might.
Well, join my community, not Weirdo's community. Herb Stratford, thank you. Mari, thank you. Thank you for listening. We'll be back tomorrow, bright and early. Until then, Rob Nash up next. Drive safe, ride safe, and as always, rock local. Later.
When you wish
Peanut
upon
butter
a
cup.
side of beef, soon
And
will
Herb, can you say
come
Babuski
an
for me?
end to all your
Babuski?
grief.
Yeah.
But if you've been
Catchphrase.
mean or kind of bad, I will knock out all
Actually,
your
let's do a little overtime. You
teeth.
guys want to do a little overtime?
Yeah.
I
minute?
can't.
I have another one.
Son of a bitch. Okay, yeah, give me
Okay,
another one.
you do
I
that
gotta
real
go.
quick. No, I have a doctor's appointment at 10:20.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
do it real quick then.
Okay. Would you rather get deathly ill every time your kid gets sick, or would you rather eat 10 sewer roaches?
Every time your kid gets sick?
For the year, you get no, just
Ah.
once a year.
deathly ill every time your kids get sick.
Yeah. Is that?
Yeah, well, I would say absolutely
Shoot.
not, because especially for you, your kids are so young, they get sick every other week.
Well,
Yeah.
I've
F
been
that,
there,
dude.
and that was terrible.
Yeah,
So
and
I
then,
think I'd eat the sewer roaches.
Yeah, I think I would.
I would eat the roaches.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's an easy one.
Yeah.
It's a delicacy in some parts of the world.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
How are the roaches prepared?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, just raw,
Yeah.
alive.
Come
you know.
on. Okay, you're gross.
Okay.
Sorry I did overtime. All right, we'll be back.